Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the transit of Mars as it goes into the sign of Leo. It will go into Leo the very last day of June or the first day of July, so around June 30th or July 1st, and it will be there all the way till August 18th. Now we have Mars that's been in Cancer for the last 6 weeks or so, and that was not a good placement for Mars at all. Mars is debilitated in Cancer, so that really weakens the energy of Mars, and it kind of weakens our sense of momentum, our sense of courage, and really our willpower. So now that it's picking up into Leo, we'll feel strengthened individually. But you know, sometimes we may not want Mars energy too strong, since you know Mars can rule all sorts of unpleasant things such as war, aggression, anger, violence, weapons. But it also rules courage, willpower, sports, energy, ambition. So that's all Mars. So before I continue on with all the effects of Mars being in Leo, I want to remind everyone to go to my website, galacticcenter.org. Sign up for my free newsletter. You will get my predictions weekly. And while you're on the website, notice my spiritual community, Shooting Stars. You can be part of that, as well as my magazine, which is Joni Patry's Astrology Insights. Once a month, it comes out with many articles you will love. So one last thing, while I have your attention, I'm starting the University of Vedic Astrology Semester 1 will begin. If you've always wanted to learn Vedic Astrology, here's your answer. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Our new start date is July 26th. Okay, what does Mars mean in Leo? Let's get going. This is pretty intense. Leo is the sign of leadership. And with Mars being there, you're going to see around the world aggression and problems with leadership. And maybe even with Mars being so strongly placed in the sign of Leo, which rules leaders. And, you know, Leo is ruled by the sun. The sun rules kings, leaders, what's in control. And this Mars being here, as soon as it enters into Leo, which will be around July 1st, June 30th, first day of July, last day of June, it will be in the nakshatra called Magha. Magha extends from 0 degrees of Leo to 13 degrees, 20 minutes of Leo. And what does Magha symbolize? The king. Its symbol is a throne. So Mars will be in Magha from the beginning, very first of the month, through July 22nd. And this, you'll notice a lot of things heat up with leadership, with rulers, or, you know, be very difficult for anyone in any country. There's going to be a lot of fighting, contention, and problems with how countries around the world are being led. I mean, everybody's in turmoil, you know, as above, so below. I mean, every country is going through this. You may talk to people in the United States and see all this going on, but I guarantee you it's going on in Turkey, it's going on in Germany, it's going on in France. All of these, everyone is up in arms in how countries are being led. And this is a huge argument around the world and within their nations. It's tearing people apart. That's the main thing. Mars is aggression and anger. And in the fiery sign of Leo, things are going to get elevated with aggression and anger and heat. So Between really the 1st of July till July 22nd, we'll see all sorts of things crop up and problems. And probably, I could say around this time, old presidents could pass. You'll see some problems with old presidents. It's around the world and in the United States that you will see old leaders. It might be their time that will come up. Why do I say that? Just in case you want to know. Because Mars being in Maga, it's ruled by Ketu. And Ketu can represent losses. Okay, so looking on into the month of July, while we have Mars heating up everything in Leo, let's talk about around the first week of July. We have some pretty interesting things happening concerning Mars in Leo. And for one thing, around, let's see, July 6th through the 7th, you're going to see where Mars will be in a quincunx, a 6-8 relationship with Neptune. Now, Neptune is deception, deceit, denial, and scandals. Mars aspecting Neptune will bring out some of the truths and some of the scandals, you'll see. And then just a few days later, around July 9th and 10th, Mars is then going to be forming a quincunx with Pluto. And Pluto can be power, it can be massive change and transformation, while Mars is the aggressor and can deal with violence. So this doesn't look good for this 6-8 relationship between Mars and Pluto. Things are going to get stirred up and things are going to get heavy and possibly even violent. But what's happening at this time, Mars is right at that point where it is forming a yod between Neptune and Pluto. And the yod is called the finger of God. So what does that mean? It means that there's a fated destiny of something about to happen in the month of July. So I'd say about the first 10 days of July, look out. First 2 weeks, there's going to be havoc to be had this month. Things are starting to get intense, but not near as tense as when we get to the months of August through October. Those eclipse energies and Mars going into Virgo is going to be a little worse. So we'll talk about that in some of the up and coming videos. But let me just say that the time period where I think things will be very difficult while Mars is in Leo will be around the time that Mars will oppose Saturn. And that will be between July 20th and 23rd. Mars-Saturn always represents delays and obstacles and setbacks. And, well, it's like Mars wants to go forward fast and Saturn wants to pull things back and stop. And Saturn is really heavy right now. It's in its retrograde. It's slowed down and now it's retrograde. So it's bringing up a lot of old karmic issues that have not been addressed. And Mars opposing it is like going to bring out some, it's going to be like that. Just knocking heads. It's like Saturn wants to stop and Mars wants to go forward. I was always taught in astrology classes that when you have Mars and Saturn aspecting each other by conjunction or opposition, it's like going down the street with one foot on the accelerator and one on the brake. What do you get? Usually a setback. You get problems. So there is going to be some major obstacles in the month of July with leadership, with rulers, the Mars in Leo. So the sun will be in Leo midway through the month of August till September. Remember that in Vedic astrology, we fall backwards a sign. So around August 15th, we get the sun in Leo. And then you're going to have Mars and the sun in the same sign. And that's going to be where the Sun and Mars begin their transit, where they're on and off in the same sign. And that heats things up all the way till November. And November is going to be around November 16th that the Sun will exactly conjunct Mars. But until then, they're neck and neck, and they never really come together till then. But it's always a time of heating up, violence, anger, frustration, all of that. So Mars in Leo is the start of all of this impending. Well, you know what I think it really is? People are really starting to act out all of their frustration. That's what's really coming. People have been frustrated and they've been angry about certain things. And no matter what, they're going to clash. The both sides of anger are going to finally start coming together, because it's been building for a while. But this is the time it starts to really build. And by the end of the year, we're going to be looking at things we never thought were possible. So July 22nd through August 12th, Mars will be in the nakshatra Purva Falguni. Now, this is a much easier nakshatra, so things will lighten up. It's easier in the respect that Purva Falguni is ruled by Venus, whereas when we're looking at Magha, it is ruled by Ketu. So that's going to be between July 1st and July 22nd. Magha is going to be the most intense. Mars going into Purva Falguni between July 22nd through August 12th. That's going to deal a lot with relationships. Purva Falguni and Uttara Falguni, they're called the marriage nakshatras. So what you're going to see in this period of time, because Mars will be in Leo all the way, the whole time. Purva Falguni is entirely in the sign of Leo. So it will deal with relationships. And Mars is aggression and anger. You're going to have to work out things in your relationships, your marriage, your whatever close relationships, love relationships you have, that is. And Venus, by the way, being retrograde will compound all of this. So looking at relationships, the Venus-Mars, Venus going retrograde, it's very important that you heal your relationships. And what it is truly, you've got to talk things out. You've got to get real. You've got to know what you want in a relationship, and you've got to get real. And if you don't, it's just going to blow up and it's not going to work. So you got to get real. And remember what I keep saying about Saturn being retrograde. We have to be realistic. So all these planets combined and their actions together are really helping us understand and see what we're truly about, how we operate in relationships, particularly because this Venus retrograde is going to help you heal all of your issues and how you react in your marriages, your love relationships, because it always boils down to one thing: you. What you need, what your relationships are all about, and that will heal them when you get realistic, because maybe you're not in the right relationship and you can't try to make something work that's never going to work. But the most important thing is to understand you, and you've got to heal your relationship with none other than yourself. That's what heals relationships. So you got to come from a place where you get out of that frustration and you realize who you are, and you respect and love yourself for all of that. And by doing that, that heals the relationships, because relationships are going to hit a hard core, the deep core essence of what it is and how you can work with it and what you need to do to heal yourself, therefore healing your relationships. It's definitely a time, karmic time, to work on ourselves, to work on who we are. But Mars being in Leo is really about our courage, our ambition, our drive, willpower. What is it you want to accomplish and do? Mars in Leo will give you the willpower. Now, when it opposes Saturn, you may have a little bump in the road and you might get very frustrated. But don't let that get you down, because there's something you need to face. And yes, it's frustrating. Could set you back a little bit. But this is where the healing happens. You can't heal something unless you know what it is you're working on. And that's what's going to be revealed. Isn't that beautiful? I think that is really exciting, very exciting and wonderful. So by the time Mars has processed through the fiery sign of Leo, which deals with leadership, and once again, this is between June 30th or July 1st, depending on where you are on planet Earth, through August 18th. This is Mars in Leo. And it's a powerful Mars in Leo. But as I said, scandals and truth are going to be revealed. And with that, then we know what we're dealing with. And then we can get to the other side of a beautiful, massive healing. And we know what we want. We go after it. We have willpower. We have energy. We have ambition. It's going to be a lot different. So take advantage of this beautiful Martian energy while you can during this Mars in Leo time period. So if this has spurred any interest in learning astrology, once again, remember that I have a new start date for my university, July 26th. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.